Welcome back to the United Pubcast, the podcast, the official Man United Supporters Club here in Sydney for your Friday Night Pint. Rob is in the house from It's a Football Thing. I'll leave a link in the description to It's a Football Thing. They're back on track now as the season approaches. And as the season approaches, Rob, we are only a couple of days, I say a couple of days, but a couple of weeks really. Pre-season just started. We're obviously both just back from the first part of Man United's pre-season in Melbourne. They're about to fly back to Europe in a couple of days after the game tomorrow night. And we're on the doorstep of the season. And I don't know if this feels exciting or it doesn't feel real. I'm not sure how to think about it because Ten Hag has just been asked a question, is he ready for the season in terms of the way the squad is shaping up? And you look at his answer and whatever spin he sort of did put on it, he's pretty much saying, no, the squad isn't ready. I'm not ready for this season. I need a lot more work done behind the scenes, especially when you do look at other clubs and what they are doing. So first, talk to me about your week. Obviously, sort of wrapping up, you're back from Melbourne. If you come down from that high yet, and also just the latest around Man United. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. As I said, still living a bit on a high from the week that was. This time last week we were probably getting ready to march to the field, and now we're here back in the pub, which is still good. Talking United, which is good. But yeah, look, man, the weather's been crap, but like I said, very Manchester-like. Funnily enough, as Bruno has been saying in the past few days. But yeah, look. Always looking forward to talking United news. And like I said, we've had a press conference. We've had always the journos are getting their stuff out about Ronaldo here and there. And yeah, and Aussies are asking about Perth. So it's all fun and games.
Well, speaking of Perth, good mate of ours, Ian, who is over in Perth at the moment and was with us in Melbourne. Maybe lads will like the upgraded pre-season signing. Ryan's here yelling at Rob. Yeah, Ryan did get some sort of FaceTime interaction down in Melbourne. Adam, good to see you, mate, as always. And Ryan, haven't seen you in a while, mate. Hope all is well. Evening all, back from the States and Europe. What have I missed? I don't know if you missed a lot or nothing. It's one of those weird ones with Manchester United and how you sort of dissect the news. But I'd say you missed a lot. Has been an interesting time supporting Man United at the moment. And Borche from the football capital, good to see you as always, mate. And look, Rob, we'll sort of get into all things, but just in regards to sort of when we sort of let one or two more people join the live chat. Just a highlight or two from Melbourne, just to take away. Obviously, we had Emad, who was down in Melbourne with us last week. He was on the pod last night. We just sort of talked about one or two things in terms of that human element of players and sort of interacting with other fans, but just sort of maybe a takeaway moment you have from the trip.
Look, it's hard. I'll be quick, but for me, it was my first tour, so I enjoyed the whole thing as a whole. The whole atmosphere, the join up in the pub, the singing. Like I said, the bit of the witch hunt of, turn up at the players' hotel in the crack of dawn to try and get signatures in the freezing cold for a few hours. Like I said, obviously got a few signatures, got a selfie with a couple of players. Bruno took one on my phone. That was a bit of a moment. Yeah, man, like I said, probably the not least exciting, but like I said, out of everything that happened, the game was probably the most normal thing out of all of it. So, yeah, it was just, I enjoyed the whole thing. And again, seeing people like from all the supporters clubs. Again, Ian was in there from Western Australia. The last time we seen him, I won't say when, but it was a while ago. So yeah, it's just nice that everyone comes together for the same thing and has a great time. And I had a ball, and like I said, my missus came down and had a ball too. And for her to have a ball, I knew it was a great time.
No, definitely. No, it was good to have Sam down there, your missus. There were a few wives and girlfriends down there, and it's one of those ones where it almost feels like a boys' trip away, but all those wives and girlfriends who sort of went to dinner with us and everything, they all sort of got on fantastically, and they sort of really added to sort of the group we sort of hang around with. So fair play to everyone who went down there. Great trip for all involved. Dion, good to see you, mate, as always. Pleasure. This press conference, we're going to get into a few things regarding Man United, and obviously it is the Friday Night Pint. So if you do have any topics you want discussed or any questions, do sort of throw it in the live chat and we'll get cracking with it. But in regards to this press conference, we were discussing just before we went on air, there was one question from a Perth journalist. What do you think of Perth? And what did you make of that question? ERIK Ten Hag actually gave quite a detailed answer on Australians and their sort of sporting nature. So he actually gave quite a detailed response, fair play to him. But in regards to the football and the pressing questions we have for the manager, what did you take of it? Because the takeaway line from me really was that, I forget who asked the question, but it was along the lines of, are you prepared for the season? He's saying, well, if you look at City, they've got their signings in, they're working all together. Liverpool, they have all their signings, they're all working together. He's saying, well, my star striker's back at home. My star signings haven't arrived yet. The two signings I have made haven't arrived yet. I'm just thinking, and he pretty much honestly said, no, it's not ideal. I'm not prepared for the season. So just your thoughts on how he answered that question, how that came about, and also the fact that we aren't prepared.
Yeah, look, it's a bit of a scary thought, and again, I'm sure all of us would have, like you said, it's not the best scenario, but we go on with it, and we got to do what we have, kind of thing. So I do think it was nice how he didn't kind of throw the current players under the bus. He's talked a lot about how good they are at training, and like he's working with what he has, and he wants to improve on what he has. Again, the Ronaldo questions come up. We kind of put a stop to that pretty quickly as a one sentence answer. What's the update on Ronaldo? Same as last week. So that was kind of shut that down. And I'm kind of glad that they didn't go on and on with it like they did in Melbourne, because there was about 4 or 5 questions that was the same. And you could see he was rolling his eyes at the same time. So got that one out of the way. But yeah, look, people starting to ask him, is your front four going to be, that's your, for the starting lineup against Brighton? Like you said, it's in 2 weeks' time. And he just kind of said, if you want to be success, a vital part of success is having new signings, and such a big and long season, we're going to need depth, kind of thing. So I don't know if that's a bit of a dig at a bit of the hierarchy, saying, hey, you haven't delivered me the goods yet, or hurry up. But he also said at the same time, there's still quite a bit of time in the transfer window. So he kind of evened it out. Didn't throw anyone under the bus, but, threw a little dig in there as well, which I like.
When he was mentioning, I forget what question it was in relation to, but he sort of mentioned Christian Eriksen and sort of in midfield, and sort of they're talking about squad depth. And he said, look, Christian Eriksen will be good. He comes in to sort of add quality and creativity and options in our midfield. But then he continued on the options trend and said, well, look at it. I'm running out of options in midfield. He said, I need options. And I think what he meant by that, he needs signings. He needs new players to provide those options. So he didn't say, I need a new midfielder or I'd need new signings. The term that he used said, I need options. And, he's pretty much come out and said, I need a new midfielder, in my opinion. And I'm just thinking, we all know the name, Frankie de Jong. Let's not get into the saga on what's happening there. But in regards to Erik ten Hag's need for one, I'm just thinking, is this just standard sort of procedure in a press conference, or is he actually putting pressure on the board saying, get this deal done because I'm struggling here?
I think it's a bit of pressure, and rightly so. Like I said, I've been going on for weeks about how thin this squad is. Again, a lot of people look at the signings, which, look, I'm so happy for. We've made 3 signings. Obviously, 2 of them aren't in the camp at the moment, but we keep forgetting that we lost a good 5 players. No matter if you rate them or not, we've lost 5 good, experienced players from the squad. So, and we haven't really strengthened them back in where we need to. Like, we've got, obviously, Molasses come in, a left back, which we already have 2 left backs at the moment, so we've got a lot of depth there. We obviously brought in Christensen on, Eriksen on the free. Again, he's kind of that 8/10, which we've got, some options there. We've obviously Bruno, you've got Donny there as well. Martinez has come in. Again, if he's going to be a centre back, we've got so many centre backs. I'm hoping because of that, he might come in and be a bit of a defensive midfielder or a bit of a versatile player. So yeah, for him, he's just saying, get me players in, because he continues to saying, we've got the World Cup. There's a lot of games out there. A lot of people, and I think one of the reporters actually said, you guys are 1 injury away from being in trouble. And that's why I said, yes, we need numbers. I need players on offense, especially.
One of the names you mentioned there, Donny van der Beek, and is this not a weird situation, but in terms of sometimes we forget he plays for Man United and then think, okay, he's like a new signing, or however you do sort of want to view it. With Donny van der Beek, where do you see his situation at the moment now? Because he came on against Crystal Palace and did very well, sort of looked sharp and looked involved, which is exactly what you want to see. But then in terms of you look what Erik ten Hag wants, he wants a new signing in that sort of deep line position in midfield. So I think that potentially takes one space away. You look at Fred and McTominay, okay, not them as a pairing, but both individuals are going to be there in part of the squad, so they're going to be utilised. And I'm just thinking, you've just brought in Christian Eriksen. Bruno Fernandes is one of your main men. What's the situation for Donny van der Beek? Because he kind of performs well. You think he'll work well under Erik ten Hag, but is there kind of, you talk about no options, you talk about this squad being so thin, but is there actually room for Donny van der Beek, if you know what I mean? Like I can't find where I'm putting a starting 11 or first name off the bench. I can't really find, he doesn't spring to mind as someone that I have to put in there.
Yeah, look, for me at the moment, it's hard squad player, especially because in the same conference, he quite talked up Fred a lot. They asked him a few Fred questions, and he said Fred's doing a really good job. And if you listen to every word he said, I kind of took out of it like, if I don't get this midfielder, Fred's improving, and I want to put a lot of faith in him. Like, I think I listened to a podcast yesterday with one of the Athletic boys saying that, if I don't get a Frankie de Jong over the line, someone like a Freddie's going to have to mold into the player he wanted, like a Frankie de Jong or something like that. So it is a little bit panic stations at the moment. That's why I think he is starting to kind of get that word out or put a little bit of pressure to get this over the line. We'll get someone over the line at least, man. I said, if it's not Frankie de Jong, there's got to be an option B. And everyone keeps saying he's happy to wait. He's happy to wait. How long can you wait? Because it's only the closer we get to the start of the season or the closer we get to the end of the transfer window, clubs are going to look at us and start saying, yeah, the price is going to start going up as well.
No, look, thanks for reminding me that. I haven't even thought about that in terms of just the business side of things, that yes, later on in the transfer window, those prices do go up, especially when Man United sort of do come knocking. Just two comments here. I'll start with Ryan, then I'll go to Borche because it's sort of a nice segue into the next topic in regards to Cristiano Ronaldo and Anthony Martial. But Ryan here is saying the two looked amazing and so did Man United, which feels strange saying. Martial looked different player. Notice in the last game in particular, he's pressing and chasing down. And Borche here, if Ronaldo stays, is he bench for Martial and we don't get de Jong? Can Donny do that role? So we can maybe swing it back to Donny van der Beek in a little bit as well. But just on Ronaldo and Martial, in this press conference, I don't think this came out in the actual press conference. I think maybe came out in a previous interview over the last couple of days. Two separate ones, I believe, in terms of Martial and Cristiano Ronaldo. The manager pretty much comes out they're not for sale. Now, the Cristiano Ronaldo line is very much no, he's not for sale.
Standard line, yeah.
I understand that's a very standard line, but I think and look, in my humble opinion, I think Ten Hag is genuine with that. I think he wants to keep him. I understand and agree with all the arguments. Potentially he's better off. I think Ten Hag wants to keep him. However, the Anthony Martial one was, I'd say, a more genuine one. I think he said, no, I need to keep him now. He's performing well in pre-season. He's shown me something. He's shown me enough to deserve a spot. I want to keep Anthony Martial. And it's going to cost a big, stupid amount of money to sort of say otherwise. So just there, in terms of we're talking about this sort of potential striker crisis at Man United, the manager wants to keep the two number 9s. And I'm just thinking, how much do you believe he is genuine in regards to that, especially the Ronaldo one? But obviously the Anthony Martial one, are we a little bit as fans? And obviously we are fickle as fans and we sort of get far too excited at times. He's got a couple of preseason games. Like if he goes 2 games when there's points up for grabs and he doesn't score, we're going, oh, why are we rewarding his preseason form? No, I'm not going to say that's going to be the case. Hopefully he scores in the first 5 games of the Premier League season. But I'm just thinking this is preseason. We have been burnt before by a preseason Pirlo or preseason Maldini or whoever. And I'm just thinking, what are your thoughts on the manager's comments regarding both number 9s?
No, look, I agree with you. I think he is genuine. I think he does want both players, especially Ronaldo. He said that since day one. What do you want about Ronaldo? What's he going to do? Goals. Everyone wants Ronaldo for goals. And, in one of his press conferences, he came out and said, Ronaldo had a 2-year contract with us with 1 year for option. So he's already talking about, I want to keep him. He's not for sale. And I'm even thinking about that extra year option, So I do think he's got Ronaldo in his plans. But, especially with Tony Martial, in his preseason form at the moment, the guy's got a smile on his face. That's the number one thing that tick off the box. He's scoring goals free and free. And when we've seen it before, when he gets a little bit of momentum or he gets, he's got he's put the arm around the shoulder around Anthony Martial. You're my number 9 at the moment. I think he's already probably said, you're going to start the first 1 or 2 games 100%, especially because Ronaldo hasn't been around the team to work and get that chemistry anyway. So we need depth no matter what. If Ronaldo stays, if he stays, they both stay. We need depth and we need more. Like I said, even if one of those players goes down, and as we all know, Ronaldo's 37 years old. He's not going to be able to play 60 games this year. There's no chance. So for me, he definitely has to keep them both. I think he genuinely wants to keep them both and add more. And yeah.
I'll just bring a comment, just which I read earlier from Borche, just here, if Ronaldo stays, is he bench for Martial? Just on that, in regards to, we all have this discussion with Ronaldo. Is he sort of going to accept his body and accept a lesser role? And we all say, there'll come a time when he will, but no, he won't. Like, he always wants to play. Will that cause drama in the dressing room? And these are all sort of valid debates. I'm just thinking what you've seen of ERIK Ten Hag so far, because he's been in the job for about a month now, sort of thing. And what we've seen a lot or we've seen nothing. Who knows? Is how much weight you put on sort of training clips and preseason interviews, sort of thing. But from what you've seen of ERIK Ten Hag, Anthony Martial's playing well. Cristiano Ronaldo's back in the team and his presence How do you think, with what you've seen so far, Erik ten Hag deals with that situation? Do you think he caves and plays a Cristiano Ronaldo, or can you see a situation where Ronaldo wanted to leave, Ronaldo wanted to go to Chelsea, finds himself, we didn't get the move, he's here at the end of August. Can you see Erik ten Hag saying, "Sorry, Cristiano, he's sitting on the bench today"?
Yep. I reckon you can lock it in at least the first 2 games. If Ronaldo's still there, I think
I think the first 2 games, just off the back of no training or pre-season training.
Yep.
I think
so
definitely.
That
but let's say when the window closes, the end of August, Ronaldo's here.
I think that's going to go on form. At the moment, if we're playing Brighton this weekend, you can't drop Anthony Martial. He's got the chemistry. He's trained with the team. He's scoring goals. If he does score 1 or 2 goals in those first 2 games, what are you going to say? Okay, you've scored 1 or 2 goals. You got to sit on the bench for the Liverpool game now. That's just not going to happen. And I think if Ronaldo does accept it and does stay, I think he'll accept it himself. Hey, I haven't been on preseason. I've got to kind of catch up. I'm sure he's keeping fit. I'm sure we all know what he's like, but it's just a respect thing. I'm sure he's not going to come in and upset the dressing room. I'm going to march in and say I want my spot back straight away. I said it could work for both ways. If Martial starts bad or slow, that makes the option quite easy for Ten Hag as well. So I think it's a little bit, not a win-win, but I said at the start, he's always going to start the season. If he scores, continues, and then I said if he's going to be on a bit of a goal-scoring streak for a few games, he's not going to get dropped. And when you have someone like Ronaldo on the bench, especially at his age, coming on like for the last 30 minutes, what more would you want anyway? So it works both ways for me.
It's perfect. If you're playing a game, I always use this analogy, but if you're playing a game of FIFA or Football Manager, it is the perfect situation where you don't have to deal with an actual personality and they're just characters. Having Ronaldo as an option off the bench is just perfect. It's in the ideal scenario. And I'm just thinking, okay, football in real life's not ideal. Ronaldo obviously has a big character and personality that comes with him. But Ryan here saying Rashford and Sancho will get goals this season as well. Lots of players will start chipping in with goals. Last year we relied on Ronaldo for goals, which I completely agree. But I always find which I agree, but the relying on someone for goals is always interesting because the best teams always rely on their top goal scorer. Liverpool rely on Salah. Like Real Madrid relied on Ronaldo when they'll win a title, sort of thing. Like we relied on Wayne Rooney to score our goals. Like every top team has, maybe only Manchester City, or maybe the caveat in that they can sort of spread the goals around quite evenly over their team. But even they're going to rely on Erling Haaland this year to get their goals. So I think you take the top goal scorer out of any team, it's very easy to make the argument, they're only too reliant on that type of player. So hopefully it is good where some of those players can sort of share that sort of load. And we do have the players capable of that. Okay, Rashford and Martial haven't done it recently, but they have shown they do have the locker in their locker to get 20 goals. I think no one's going to be surprised if Jadon Sancho has sort of 20 goal contributions in terms of assists and goals. So those goals are, and you look what Bruno Fernandes can do. He could have 30 or 40 goal contributions over a season. So those goals are there. It's interesting how Erik ten Hag can sort of share those around the team. And Adam here saying, I've always said that Martial is talented, but he's so lazy, which lets him down and is a downfall for us. What do you guys think of the Anthony rumours? Look, I disagree. Well, I see the argument in regards to Martial lazy. I disagree completely, Adam. I think I see it with the body language, and when we lose, I share that frustration. I will call him lazy when we lose, and I see that body language. However, out of all the strikers over the last couple of years, he does get through a lot of work. And I watch the game maybe differently to a lot of people. I watch a lot of the off-the-ball stuff. In terms of if the ball's at left back, I watch what's happening at right back. And I think he does a lot of work that definitely does go unnoticed. And maybe that's a direct comparison to Marcus Rashford. Maybe my frustrations sort of boiled over with Marcus Rashford. And I think he gets praised a lot for his work rate. And I thought his work rate in recent seasons has been extremely poor. But we'll definitely have a chat with you when you do come on the podcast in regards to Anthony Martial. But the Anthony rumours, I can't see that happening anymore. But something here, well, will it happen, Rob, or not? I'll get your take. We'll discuss it a little bit earlier. Memphis Depay.
Did I say something about this 2 weeks ago or what, before all this came out about Memphis on a possible return?
Well, it could be 2 years. I think he's one of those names. When Paul Pogba left, you thought, Paul Pogba will come back one day. When Ronaldo left, Ronaldo could come back one day. When Memphis left, you thought, he potentially could come back one day. So I'm just thinking, and not many names that happens with. I mentioned those 3 names there, but quite often if Jesse Lingard, okay, he's not coming back. Or Di Maria, no, he's not coming back. Like, it's very rare that when a player leaves, there's always that sudden instinct, I can see him back at Man United. And Memphis is one of those players. Now, whatever you think of him, that is the case. So just give me your 2 cents on, one, do you think there is something in that where United could go in for him and he returns? And if so, what do you make of that? Would you be happy with it?
For me, I like Memphis. He's a player I've watched quite a bit since he's left us. I do watch quite a bit of the League One. So when he was at Lyon, I watched quite a lot of him, and he's had, he led the line quite good. He had a couple of good campaigns, especially I think it was last year, the year before in the Champions League when Lyon made it to the quarter semi-finals when they knocked out City as well. Led the line there. Went to Barca, he went to Barca when Barca was probably at their lowest. Now that they're kind of, they've got the Lewandowskis, they've got the Aubameyangs, he's kind of become a third choice striker. And for him, again, World Cup's coming around in November time. If he's not going to get the minutes, he's going to look for a club because I don't see him getting a lot of minutes at Barcelona. He loves the club. We all know that. Obviously, there's the Dutch links, which is always going to be, we're going to be linked to every Dutch player, I feel, from, because of Ten Hag. And there's that slight thing, what's to say no if we do get Frankie de Jong that we can't get de Jong and Depay, in the same thing, kind of, they're both, if we get de Jong and he's not happy as well, Depay, it's kind of like a two for the price of one. They've got that chemistry from the Dutch national team. I'll take him back. I just think that he'd be someone that would come back to the club. He'd be happy to come back under Ten Hag. And I think that he'd be someone that would sit on the bench and play second fiddle or play in the Europa League games, possibly lead the line. I think he'd be one of those players that wouldn't kind of demand the start, when you got people like your Anthony Martial and your Ronaldo in front of him.
Well, just one or two sort of live chats I do want to bring in, but Borche here in regards to this topic about Memphis will come in and take Martial's number. In regards to building a squad, okay, Anthony Martial and Cristiano Ronaldo are two current strikers, two very different types of strikers. I'm just thinking, from my memory of watching Memphis years ago and sort of snippets I've seen, you've seen far more of him in recent seasons. Very similar to Martial, in my opinion. And I'm just thinking, when you're building a squad, is that what you need? Like, I'm old school, but at the moment when I'm looking out, if I'm buying a striker, there's been some names out there, and I know nothing about these players, but an old-fashioned target man, something different. If I'm going for a striker, that's sort of what I'm going for in terms of, and now for some people to have Cristiano Ronaldo as that potential target man, but in terms of that physical presence, that's what I would be looking for, because I think our front men at the moment, Martial, Rashford, Sancho, Alanga, played Bruno Fernandes up there. It's a very, very technical sort of players. I think you need something different. Now, Memphis Depay could come and he could be brilliant, but he's not something different. I think we're well stocked in that type of player in that area. So, do you think business-wise it makes sense for Erik ten Hag sort of putting together his squad?
Look, it's a question mark. I don't know. It's just it's a personal preference for me that would he like to take the player? And I completely agree with you about get a different kind of striker in there. In that case, obviously we've seen the rumors around Ivan Toney in the last week as well, which would be a little bit more of your traditional nine. Obviously, he's physical, he's strong, he's good in the air. He did bring something different, and he would obviously, if we got that desperate, to go and get a Brentford striker, I rate him. Look, I think he's good for Brentford. For United, it'll be kind of like when we went and got Igalo for me. But look, Igalo done a job at the time. It could be a cheap fix that will sit on the bench and come on. Coming to United would be like a monstrous deal for him. And like I said, someone that can play in the Europa League. So look, there's going to be there's not a lot of number 9s out there. That's why we're obviously linked to, you people like your Ivan Toney's, people like Memphis Depay. It's an easy story. He's Dutch. He maybe wants a way out. Where's he going to go? He's got a love affair with United. It's easy journalism.
And it's another story for Barcelona to get their teeth into in this transfer window. They've just sold more of their TV rights. Who knows what's going to happen there? I wouldn't be shocked if they sell Lewandowski before the end of the window. I don't know what's happening there. But Dion here, utterly ridiculous. Come on, you blokes. Give us a little bit more details on what we're talking about. What is ridiculous? Let us know a little bit more than that, mate. But do let us know. Ian over from Perth, obviously had a night with Brian Robson last night, and he had a charity event over in Perth. Robson said last night, in summary, that Martial has all the ability in the world, but needs to learn to be consistent and keep composure for more than one game. He's not excited yet. But at the end of the day, that's what it's pre-season at the moment. I think we're all sort of so hyped and excited about everything. A 0-0 draw against Brighton changes things. And everyone's saying, no, nothing's changed. It's the same old players. We need to invest more. So that is sort of the life of a Man United fan. Ryan here, which I agree with, and I don't like that I agree with it. Depay isn't the sort of character United need. He was slated United and the City when he left. I don't like to accuse people of their attitude and their character, but here I am. I find myself doing it at times. I think we all do. There's something with Memphis Depay just sort of rubbed me up the wrong way. I just think he just came up, and I like a player with confidence, and to be special at United and to make it United, you do need a confidence. I just think now maybe he's developed into a player who sort of warrants that confidence. When he arrived at United, he didn't warrant that, and he walked around like he was the king, and sadly he wasn't. And now, obviously, or you could almost put him in the category of Anthony Martial. He has all the ability. Like, he's a fantastic footballer, but I always say you need to be more than a fantastic footballer to make it at United. You can do that at Lyon, or you can do that at Everton, or you can do it at Southampton. Doing it at Man United is a different kettle of fish. And do I think Memphis Depay has that? From what I've seen, I don't think he has. I think you can do it at other clubs, but Man United is different. Dion here come hundreds of forwards in Europe, and we're going to sign a player who we sold 6 years ago. Yeah, look, I don't think it's going to happen. I personally don't want it to happen. I don't think it'll happen. But as Rob said, it's a very easy story. And look, who knows? Stranger things have happened in this transfer window, and anything is possible with Barcelona. And look, you put Man United or ERIK Ten Hag in a sort of sticky situation on deadline day, and we don't have a striker, and Ronaldo's forced his way out. I might be the first person here saying break the bank for Memphis Depay. Strange things do happen in the world of football, but please do. We're not wrapping up yet, but we'll sort of touch on one or two more things. But please do leave a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribed if you are new. Let us know where you're watching from this Friday night. Ashby, who's down in Melbourne with us, good to see you, mate. Evening, lads. Surely we'd all be happy with just signing a player at this rate. It has all gone very quiet. Just before we went to Melbourne, Rob, it was always every day you were refreshing, thinking, okay, we're about to announce a signing, We're not at that stage yet. It's like there's no real sort of breaking news even in regards to a link, let alone a confirmation regarding a signing, is there?
No, look, and that's what I mean. I feel like because we took so long to get those, Ericsson, we signed him 2 weeks ago on a free, and he only got announced while in Melbourne. Martinez, we've been talking about him for a few weeks. Finally got. Well, we still haven't seen pictures of these players. I don't know if they're going to wait till they get back to Manchester to get the jerseys out or something. But they've just said, yeah, we've pending medical, whatever. We've officially made an agreement or whatever. But yeah, look, it has gone quiet. The only one I still think that we're still in with Anthony. I don't know why. I still think we'll have a goal in. Someone that
can you see us going in with Ajax? We're just taking the manager, we've just taken one of their defenders, taking their prize forward.
Look, they said to us no the first time I went in for Martinez. We upped it nearly they got another 10 million out of us. They're a kind of club, if they got to maybe even go 1 year on a rebuild, they're still going to be probably in the top two anyway. They'll use the money and, they're smart. They'll go out and poach young players and turn them into $100 million players again. He wants to come, but from all reports, he wants to come. Ten Hag wants him. We need more depth in our offense. They're saying reportedly 67 million, which is like, nearly 80 million euros, which, yeah, it is a lot of money, but the longer we let it go without getting extra players, and he wants to come, I can see, United knee-jerking and going and get someone like that. And look, Ten Hag knows him, so it's not that it wouldn't be a risky buy, but, is that a little bit, the manager knows the player, he wants to play, the player wants to come. I still reckon we could do a deal for him. The only thing is, I'd want him to play on the right wing. Obviously being a left footer, I like him. Hey, they come in and cut in kind of thing. And like I said, but I also I really think Jadon Sancho, yes, he can play off the left as well, but I really thought we originally brought him to play off the right. And, especially because you're Rashford and Martial, if he's not playing down the middle, they're not good on the right at all. They're left wingers or, down the middle kind of guys. So Jadon Sancho for me is going to have the right. So, if you're going to go spend 80 million euros on another right winger to sit on a bench, that's where it starts to get a bit hard for Ten Hag.
Here's a name for you. And look, a couple of weeks ago, I would have said, not happening, and I don't want it to happen, and I can't see it happening. However, I just hear myself speaking 2 minutes ago in terms of that different profile of striker, and I'm thinking, well, hang on, maybe there is sort of a benefit in this. But as the sort of Italian correspondent to the podcast, Rob, Ramo, he asked a question, Andrea Bellotti is available for free. Talk to me.
It's a no. You've already asked me, so I've said no. I wouldn't take him on a free. I just look. I'm an Italian. He's not a bad player. He's not someone I would jump out of. I told you if you wanted an Italian striker, go for that Scamacca. He's young, 22 years old. I told you he fits the bill for me. He's strong. He's aggressive. He can link up play. He can run in behind. He's tall. Again, he's someone that would come in and play second fiddle as a 22-year-old. He would be great for Europa League. We don't want to go for someone who's 28 and he's been good, but he's a Torino striker. He's never kind of got, I think it was about 3-4 years ago when he was at his peak. He was top goal scorer in the Serie A, and people wanted him. He was about 100 million at the moment. No one bought him, obviously. Now he's for free. No one else has jumped on him either. For me, I think he not flop, but I don't know. I think it would be a bit of a risk. Go get Skamaka. For me, I rate him, and I think a 22-year-old with a ceiling is a better option.
Yeah, no, look, I like the line of thinking, Ian, with a cracker here. Do we want players from a country that can't make the World Cup? A little bit. Ryan here, at what point, just the last one before we move on to a bit of a match preview, there is a match in 24 hours' time, but Ryan here, at what point do we sack De Jong off and get Tielemans? Does he actually want to come to United? Look, this is a discussion, Ryan, we've been having for weeks, and look, we're going to continue to, I think, have this discussion for weeks, but in regards to the point he makes there in regards to another name, are you seeing anything potentially sort of progressing or developing in regards to a situation where we don't get De Jong? He still needs a midfielder. He still wants that other option in midfield. What sort of path do you think United would pursue? Do you think it's a Tielemans or Ruben Neves, or do you think it's a name that the name that we were sort of discussed a little bit earlier on Twitter? Jenny Wijnaldum's name's been thrown about there, not so much in relation to United, but PSG want to get rid of him. He's a Dutch midfielder. I'm just thinking, what path do you think United would potentially go now, given the situation if Frankie De Jong fell through?
It's hard. Look, I like Tielemans. I'm surprised for 1 year left on his contract. No one's kind of, obviously he's got the Arsenal links, but no one's kind of gone in hard for him yet. I don't know if everyone's kind of waiting for each other to jump on him. I do like him, but again, he's kind of said Ten Hag a few times. Not that I also think Frankie de Jong is a deep lying defensive midfielder, even though he must think of him that way. All these players are more eights to me. Tielemans is more of an 8. Neves is more of an 8. I feel like we're going to have a team full of 8s, when we need that 6. We've never really had that 6. So unless it's going to try and mold, Fred again from a clean slate into that, I don't know. For me, again, I've seen the Gini Wijnaldum. I rate him as well. I think, again, he's another player that likes to be more advanced box-to-box and under 8. For me, I said, obviously, Roma's linked to him. I think he could actually go back to Newcastle. I could say that happening.
Newcastle is a shout.
Yeah, so, look, I don't know. But the closer we get, they've got to draw a line. And the only thing that's keeping me positive about this is he's had to have made a phone call at some point saying, when I get my 17 million, I'm going to be yours. I don't know if it's going to go all the way to deadline day, but Ten Hag can't be that stupid to put all his eggs in the Frankie de Jong basket for him to throw himself under the bus, because he'd probably cop it a bit for persisting with this transfer and not saying, okay, we're done with him. Again, Frankie de Jong is saying all the right things as a Barcelona player. I want to stay. They're paying him he's an employee for Barcelona. Again, he probably doesn't want to really go, but if United have all these agreements with both clubs and he gets his money, he's had to have some kind of agreement with Ten Hag to say he's going to come. That's the only little light I've got, because I've said it myself. Move on. He needs players. Go get another player. So we'll see what happens, I guess.
No, look, that is that sort of one bit of hope. You're completely right. Like, we don't know how these things happen in terms of the way transfers should be done and how they're actually done. So you just have to look and think, yes, okay, they're not technically allowed to sort of ring each other up and talk to each other about a transfer. Ultimately, that is exactly what happens. It's the only way these sort of deals can get done. And I'm just thinking, sure, yeah, you're completely right. They've had to have a conversation. If the clubs can get this sorted, are you happy to come to Man United? It's simple, yes or no. And if the answer is no, if this is on Ten Hag, this is on no one else.
It is.
Sort of
like
thing.
a lot of people come out.
I refuse to believe that's an option. I can't see how we would sort of pursue it if Frankie de Jong has said, I've got no interest. So obviously, Frankie de Jong, or you'd hope obviously, does have somewhat of an interest if the clubs can sort of do this deal. But I think there's so it does have a few more legs to sort of race. So it will be interesting. But we'll sort of wrap up on a bit of a match preview. We won't do a sort of a show-specific one. But we are playing Aston Villa tomorrow in Perth. Decent Australian kickoff time. Good mate of ours, Ian, is over there in Perth. He'll be obviously at the game. Just thinking, is there anything sort of off the back of the last couple of pre-season matches you're looking forward to seeing, or are you looking forward to seeing something different, a certain player or a certain change, or just your thoughts going into this one? Because these pre-season games, they're very different to the season games. When we're looking at Brighton, we're just like, okay, strongest 11, don't care about the performance, 3 points, that's all we need. But when we look forward to a pre-season match, we have all these different sort of wants. The results is the furthest thing. We want to see this type of football, or we want to see this player in this position. So just your thoughts going into this one.
Yeah, look, I'm excited. Again, United's playing good time zone for us as well, which is a bonus. And I think the the teams we're playing, obviously, besides the first game, Liverpool, which was, we were a bit fitter than them about a week in front of on our preseason. But I like how the teams are kind of slowly progressing. Obviously, Victory went to Crystal Palace, wasn't a full strength Palace. Now we're going to go to a Villa. We're going to a Villa, and Villa actually have bring out a full squad team. I watched a little bit of their game the other night, and they have bring a full squad. All their names are there. And as we've seen against Crystal Palace, he went from the two halves, the previous game in Victory, 45-45, started giving 60 minutes now. I'm expecting that again. The stronger team to get 60 minutes before he makes changes. Again, it's going to be that little bit extra of a challenge for us because we're coming up against a little bit more of a quality team. Player-wise, I don't know if he'll get the start, but I'd really like to see Terrell Malacia again at left back from the start with the stronger team.
What have you seen? Because I think we've seen a definite, Diogo Dalot's the first choice right back. I'm just thinking at a left back, we're all excited about the signing of Malacia, but then said, look, there's a young player coming in. Luke Shaw will still be first choice. It looks like maybe Tellez is on the adder. But in regards to the performances, and look how much weight is Ten Hag putting in this first half 11 and the second half 11. Now, that potentially will change. Will players get an extra 15 or 20 minutes now in that second half? And I'm just thinking, which actually they did, that first team against Crystal Palace did play a little bit into the second half from memory. So what do you make a left-back situation? Is potential Malacia going to be starting against Brighton, or do you think it's still going to be Luke Shaw?
Again, question mark. We've got another 3 preseason games. If it's going to continue the way with the 60 minutes and then the big kind of squad change, and Malacia is getting it with the stronger team, I say there's no reason why against a Brighton at home and a Brentford away in the first 2 games, why he can't be given a run if he's looking on form in preseason anyway. That's my personal opinion anyway. If you would have asked me this question last week against Victory, when he came on with the non-strong team, I was like, yeah, okay, this kid's he's going to take a while. He's going to be like an Ahmad or something like that. We've bought him for the future. We're going to loan him out. He's going to play some Europa League games or something. When I seen him in that game against Palace against a better opposition, I don't know if it was just me, but I was really impressed with his runs, with the way he tracked back, the way he kept bombing down to the byline and his crossing. I was really excited the way he played. The same thing when Connor Donny came in at halftime for Scotty, and he had a good performance with the stronger team. But yeah, I'd like to see him. Obviously, it's definitely going to be that. I can't say anything else but that front 3 in the first 60 minutes before you're going to get your younger people. I'd love to see Jimmy Gardner get some minutes. Obviously, he hasn't because he's picked up a knock in off-season, so that's probably precautionary. But, I think he has been training the last 1 or 2 days. Be nice to see him get a few minutes. Garnacho, I reckon, won't get any minutes. I think he's bringing him for the experience. That's.
I think in his press conference,
he said that, and I think that was a great answer.
I think it's in regards to a lot of us do get excited as fans. Let's play the youngsters. I'm thinking it was not a light bulb moment, but the way I took it was him sort of realising, I'd like to, but hang on, I'm Manchester United manager. I'm not here to play youngsters. I'm not here to appease the fans. If I lose against Brighton, my job's on the line. I need a team that's going to win against Brighton. And look, we're all excited about Garnacho. We want Garnacho to have a great career. Ultimately, and he might be the answer, fingers crossed he is the answer, but for a manager with his job on the line, which unfortunately that is the case at Manchester United every time the whistle blows, his job is on the line. And ultimately, if you have a experienced professional, that is sort of going to take preference over a sort of young, unproven kid. And that's unfortunate, but that is the life that a Man United manager sort of must live at the moment. But it is interesting that point you do make on Garnacho.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think that was my favorite answer in the whole press conference. Like just the way he answered, saying, like I said, to bring him on tour is kind of rewarding him for his good season last year and bringing him up to see the whole first team experience. And he said the young ones that aren't getting game time, they're still on tour with us. They're training with the big boys. They're training in front of me, so I can see, or I can kind of show them the system for the future. But exactly what he said, he goes, my priority is to get results by our first game. So playing the youngsters and playing not strong teams as we progress closer to the season is not going to benefit anyone. So I think that was a great answer. So they're still getting experience, they're still on tour, and at the same time he gets to see them, and he's playing his good team, getting ready for game 1, which he should be.
Yeah, definitely. Adam here saying I think we start Donny over McTominay tomorrow, which I'd agree with. I think that Donny van de Beek did more than enough to sort of get that spot above McTominay for the next game. Now, McTominay came off at half-time, and I don't think he's trained since. Didn't do the open training session in person. Potentially maybe picked up an injury while he was the one to be subbed at half-time. But I think what Donny van der Beek showed in that second half definitely deserves to partner Fred in the next game. And Dion here saying, I think it's still Shaw's spot to lose in regards to left back. And look, I'm not Luke Shaw's biggest fan, but that's what I probably look. Ultimately, I'm still saying Alex Tellez over Shaw and Tellez, but let's say it's Luke Shaw and Malacia. I think it's one of those ones where I'm not Shaw's biggest fan, but ultimately I still think that's probably right. But as I say, there's still 3 games to go in pre-season. A lot can change, whether that be injuries or form.
If we were playing Liverpool first game, I'd say Shaw's got that on lock. But it's because it's at Brighton at home and Brentford away. I just don't think you can close the door on someone like Malacia. He's a new signing. I said if he has a good preseason and he's getting these 60 minutes with the better team, I don't know. Like I think he'd love to, especially against a team like Brighton, who'd like to play attacking football, and there is space in behind. You know, they don't sit there and with a low block. I think it's a great opportunity for someone to play like that. Again, 50-50, it could go either way. But I also found it interesting how he played Tellez, at centre-back for one of those halves as well. I don't know if he's getting ready kind of for a system with a left-footed centre-back for when Martinez comes in as well. That's interesting. And how he put Harry Maguire to the
down in Melbourne, one of the supporters clubs events, we had one of the sort of. It was a great evening. I think a lot of people have seen the photos. We had 8 players and 4 up there at a time. Alex Tellez was one of the players, and he sort of spoke openly in a very small room. There's about 20 or 30 of us in the room, and Tellez was one of the players up there. And one of the questions directed at him was playing at centre back, and it was one of those ones where he didn't sort of give an insight into his future. But sort of the read in the body language was very much along the lines of Luke Shaw and Malacia are ahead of me now in the manager's eyes. I'm playing at centre-back because there's no one else. He's not comfortable playing at centre-back. He didn't have he sort of smiled, I'll play wherever the manager wants me to. But you could tell it was I'm playing at centre-back because that's where the manager's put me at the moment. I'm not playing in my preferred position. So it is an interesting one with Tellez. But the centre-back situation, we'll start to wrap up, Rob. But on centre-back where Harry Maguire, okay, he's captain, he's going to play. Victor Lindelof's performing well, so Victor Lindelof needs to play. ERIK Bailly is doing enough. Rafael Varane, World Cup winner, Champions League winner. And I'm just thinking, we've just signed Lisandro Martinez for 50 million. He's definitely going to be playing. How do you see I spoke to Emad yesterday as well about it, but how do you see the situation at centre-back? Because you talk about this squad being too thin. We've got far too many, in my opinion. And I agree it's too thin, but I also agree we've got far too many. So I'm just thinking, just how you read the situation at centre-back.
I would not be able to tell you who's lining up in that first game. I'm mind boggled in that one. The only little solution I can see is, like I said, if you put Martinez as a defensive midfielder for the first couple of games, and then you've got, at least you've got Maguire as a definite starter, possibly partnering a Varane or Lindelof. If it's not that, and he's actually going to play centre back, again, we've just spent nearly £60 million on a new centre back that he wanted. And this is the only sign I could say that the club's actually backed him. Because the club wanted Pau Torres, a few other names out there.
I wanted Pau Torres.
Exactly, I know he did. Timber, he was his first preference. They didn't get him. He's gone out and said, I want this guy now. For them to change from Pau Torres and say, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to spend an extra 10 million to get this guy over the line. He can't sit on the bench. This guy's got to come in. I'd say next week when they get back to Manchester, he's going to get training sessions straight under the belt, hopefully 1 or 2 preseason games. I want to see him play in the starting 11.
Yeah,
I don't know what position yet, but he has to start in that first game.
Well, what I like to, and it's one of those things, maybe it's a little bit lazy, but in terms of the way we sort of view these sort of diminutive sort of Argentinian players, but in terms of Ten Hag described him as a warrior, and ultimately, okay, is he technical? Is he tactical? Can he win headers? Does he have a good passing range? That's all one thing, but ultimately, it's one of the frustrations we do have with these Man United players over the last couple of years is that fight. And I think this is one player who he has no connection to the club. Now he's joined the club. Hopefully he does feel that connection. But he is one player who I don't think we'll ever see a situation where we're going to sort of be questioning his commitment. I think just his sort of professional sort of drive, he'll always be a pleasure to watch no matter how he performs. I think he's someone the fans definitely will get behind. But just as we wrap up the Friday Night Pint, if there is anything we've missed, any Man United news or anything you do want to discuss, any questions, do leave it in the live chat before we do wrap up. But I'll leave that to you, Rob. Is there anything sort of springs to mind, Man United related, that we've missed or sort of you want to discuss?
I think we've wrapped it up. I had some notes here. I think we've covered nearly everything. The Depay, Anthony, Tony, press conference. I think we've done a pretty good job. Like I said, unless there's anything else that comes from the live chat, I think we've done a good job.
What do you make now? So what's the date here? We're 22nd of July, so we've got 3 weeks to the season, around 3 weeks in terms of. It's not ideal. Erik ten Hag has said it's not ideal. Fully understand that and fully agree with that. However, are you confident going into Brighton then? Because ultimately it's at home to Brighton. Now, obviously, we got pumped by Brighton a couple of games ago in terms of the Premier League. Now, that wasn't at Old Trafford. That was away at Brighton. But we talk about this squad's not ready. But obviously, when the season starts, it's got to have to be ready no matter what situation we're in. So you go into that game. Are you confident going into this season, even though we've just sort of raised all these questions and concerns that we're not ready?
First 2 games, famous last words, I'm confident in our first 2 games. I think they're decent games. Brighton at home. It won't be easy, but I do think, if Cucurella does go, I think he's a big loss for them at fullback. They've lost Basuma in their midfield, which is massive for them. A little bit of they will bring players in to replace him, obviously, but a little bit of a weakened team. And the team on now who's performing on preseason, and if they do get, if they continue this and no injuries picked up from now to them, at home, first day of the season, everyone's going to be bouncing, new hope. We've got to get the 3 points at home. Again, Brentford as well away. We should be getting 3 points there. Liverpool will stop there and we'll see how we go for those first 2 games.
Well, Adam with a shout here in regards to confirming those dates. Season starts 2 weeks tomorrow. It's the shortest preseason ever.
It feels like it. It does feel like it. But, and there was no kind of World Cup or nothing in this one. I know we did have that international break straight after the season, which went for about a week. And then everyone had their 2 weeks off. And then you have to think Ten Hag kind of bring the boys back a little bit that 1 week early compared to everyone else that started their preseason, which was good. It looks like we're the tour. It's flying for us, man, because we've been counting down days for the tour. The tour's gone and passed.
That might be it, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, they're in Perth this weekend. But then, like I said, I had a look at our next game. It's a week away, that Oslo Atletico game. So, and then, like I said, before we know it, it'll be Charity Shield. We'll be watching that. And then it'll be first game. We'll be bouncing on a Sunday night for that Brighton game.
Yeah, it is a Sunday night. Unfortunately, we're not on the Saturday night kickoff. But, definitely a watchable time. Ian here, I'm confident come October, Twitter will be exploded with disappointment. Yet we'll be on a journey. We need to support our players and the manager. Yeah, that October month, I remember looking at the fixtures when they came out. That is a tricky situation that month. But everyone is completely right in regards to that support of the manager and the players. They definitely need that. It's been good. Look, let's not get into a Harry Maguire debate. Obviously, there's no doubt or no hiding from what happened the other day against Crystal Palace. Now, has Man United sort of spun it positively and sort of put some feel-good Harry Maguire stories out there? Possibly. But ultimately, he needed some feel-good stories. And obviously, he's almost fan favourite over in Perth in regards to signing autographs. And I'm just thinking, are you a cynic in regards to that in terms of them putting that stuff out? Or do you just think, as a fan and sort of trying to be positive and spread sort of positive vibes around, it's just something that's good to see because he needed a smile?
He needs a smile, and we need positivity in the team. Again, new manager, not new squad, I can't fully say, but it's a new season. Everyone goes through this every season. New hope, clean slate. Everyone's gonna, we'll be singing. If we win 3-0, 4-0, like we normally do in the first season opener, we're gonna win the 21s coming. Yeah. Until again, I think he said today, one of the reporters again in the conference said, would you take 7 points out of your first 3 games? He said, I just look forward to the first game. For me, I'll take 7 points right now. I think that'd be.
I tell you what, weirdly, I don't know, and mate asked this before, and I think, what am I discussing this for? I'm confident against Liverpool. I just think this first 3 games, I just think there'll be a bit of a bounce. I think we get a good win against Brighton. I think we'll continue that on against Brentford. And I just think under the lights, Erik ten Hag, first game against Liverpool. As I said, it's still, I know the season's underway then, but still would still be a week ahead of them. If we're a week ahead of them a couple of weeks ago, that means we're still a week ahead fitness-wise. Yep. I could see us beat Liverpool. Now, who knows we lose our first 2 games, Liverpool win their first 2.
One of the big boys early in the season than when they get their wheels in motion, when it's about a month down. Like, I think it was last year, someone like Arsenal, even though they lost all the games, they knocked out like City, Chelsea, and someone else, Spurs or someone, within their first 4 weeks. Yes, they lost them all, but, by the time they got their motion, they went on a bit of a run after that. And then, we'll see what happens at the end of the season. It's a long season. Everyone's going to play each other twice. So, look, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
It's one of those ones where we sort of sort of overanalyze all these fixtures. At the end of the day, everyone plays everyone home and away. It doesn't matter. Maybe you should just go back to the old school, like your draws as a kid. It was round one and you play them in the corresponding round, sort of half a season later. But Adam here saying, I think we beat Brighton comfortably first game of the season. ERIK Ten Hag first Premier League game at Old Trafford. And it's the opening game of the season and we all get too excited like we did last season against Leeds. Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to the Leeds game. That's definitely one of the highlights of the season for me. Are you lads going to Scruffy Murphy's tomorrow night? I won't be. As you can see when I mute the camera, mute my microphone every couple of minutes. I'm up to cough. Finally, years in the making, finally picked up COVID. So obviously picked it up somewhere in Melbourne, but back I'm not sick at all. Just a little bit of a cough and a slight headache sort of thing. But obviously I have to start a little bit of isolation, so I'll be here doing a podcast. Or maybe we'll do a live show after the match because what time's kickoff? About now? 8 o'clock tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think it's 7:45. So
look about this time tomorrow. We'll find someone to come on the pod. Maybe you want to, Adam. Maybe if you're watching the game at home. Maybe have a live reaction, maybe half an hour after the match sort of thing and sort of dissect what happened. But yeah, I'll be home because I've picked up COVID and Larry is halfway to Europe. So hopefully Larry's flight is going smooth and sort of lands nice and safely and maybe he can tune in as well. But as said, if everyone enjoyed a drink and a bit of United chat on a Friday night, please do leave a like on the video. That would be fantastic. If you are new, if you could hit subscribe, we very much appreciate it. And Rob, pleasure as always, mate.
Pleasure again. Always enjoy a drink in the pub and talking United as always. And until next time, we'll see you later.
No, definitely. Hopefully everyone has a good weekend. And as I say, back this time tomorrow, discussing the match against Aston Villa. Stephen Gerrard's Aston Villa. I've seen videos of him over in Perth. Makes me sick. But until then, we'll chat to you tomorrow. Cheers.
Ciao.